I still remember the glow, the kind that eats the night whole. Flames chewing through the brand-new clubhouse, the sky pulsing orange like it was bleeding. And Dana Laird, our HOA president, screaming into her phone in satin heels, yelling, "There's no hydrant! There's no damn hydrant!" That was the night everything burned our clubhouse, her reputation and whatever illusion of safety this neighborhood ever had. It didn't start with fire. It started with a Monday morning. I was standing barefoot in my driveway, coffee cooling in my hand, when the trucks rolled in flatbed hoses, an excavator that looked like it belonged at a demolition site, not on a suburban cul-de-sac. They unrolled bright orange tape around the corner lot. Across the street, old Mrs. Culver froze mid-sprinkle over her tulips. We weren't the kind of place where things happened unannounced. But lately, that was changing. Then I saw them. Two men in vests, heading straight for the fire hydrant on Hawthorne and Larkspur, the one I'd leaned against after morning jogs, the one kids used to tie balloons to on the 4th of July. I called out, "Hey, what are you doing with that one guy sunburnt and clipboard in hand?" Said work order. HOA's removing it. Something about landscape uniformity. Landscape, I laughed. That's public infrastructure. He shrugged, kept working. 10 minutes later I was yelling, "You can't just remove a hydrant. There's state code liability." He didn't look up. "Talk to your board, man. We just do what's on the order." By noon it was gone. In its place a mulch patch, a baby bush, and a brass plaque that said, "Community Beautification Phase 1. That's when she appeared, Dana Laird, strutting down the sidewalk in wedge sandals, linen blazer, sunglasses big enough to block God. She smiled that tight kind of smile you learn to fear. "Good afternoon, Mr. Sanderson. Lovely weather, isn't it?" "Did you sign off on this?" I asked. She tilted her head. "On what?" "The hydrant. You just removed a fire hydrant." She didn't blink. "We're updating curb aesthetics." "The city approved." "No, they didn't," I said. "I've worked with the fire department. Hydrants are required every 500 feet in residential zones. You took hours without replacing it." She gave a tiny, pitying smile. "I appreciate your concern, but you're retired now, right? Maybe let the current generation take it from here." Something inside me cracked. She saw an old man waving at clouds. What she didn't see were the burns on my back from 29 years of service, 3 of those in units that ran into burning buildings when everyone else ran out. Fire hydrants weren't decoration. They were lifelines. That night I checked the HOA minutes online. Nothing. No mention of hydrants, just vague talk about visual upgrades. So I started documenting photos, maps, every missing hydrant. I even called my old captain. He confirmed what I already knew: what they were doing was illegal. By the end of the week, 5 hydrants were gone, each replaced with some absurd beautification. One became a fountain misting over a relaxation bench. Another covered with fake stone and a sign that said, "Harmony Zone." I felt my jaw lock. The next morning, the HOA newsletter arrived, front-page photo of Dana cutting a ribbon beside a new reflection garden. I could barely breathe. They were dismantling every safeguard we had, one bush at a time. I called Chief Morales, my old commander. "They're pulling hydrants, Chief. Whole streets are dry." He swore under his breath. "That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Send me everything." So I did. Photos, annotations, maps marked in red. I sent it all. Then I waited. Days passed. No inspectors, no city notice, just a knock on my door. A guy in a branded polo handed me an envelope. Notice of non-compliance. Apparently, I'd violated the HOA's code of conduct by filing an external complaint. "You're joking," I said. "Section 4B, he replied flatly. "Any further violations may result in fines or suspension of privileges. You tell Dana I snapped when someone dies because of her curb appeal, it'll be on her." He didn't even flinch, walked away like a robot. The next newsletter headline read, "Outdated Infrastructure and Modern Improvements, Why Fire Hydrants Are Obsolete." I almost tore it in half. That night I went for a walk, ended up at the park where the biggest hydrant used to stand. Now there was a granite sculpture shaped like a leaf. A damn leaf. That's where I met Dolores, an old woman with a cane and a stare sharp enough to cut marble. "You're the fireman, right?" was I said. "They think we don't remember," she whispered. "But that hydrant saved my house in '96. I felt something shift inside me. Maybe I wasn't alone. Maybe it wasn't over. So I started writing letters. real ones, to the county, to local news. Most got ignored, deleted, or moderated for community harmony, but I didn't stop. Then one afternoon, I found an envelope under my Welcome Matt County seal signature. I recognized Deputy Fire Marshal Elise Traun. Her letter said the HOA had violated Section 19B of the State Fire Safety Code. An investigation was underway. I smiled for the first time in weeks, but victory came slow. Dana doubled down, fined me again, banned me from the clubhouse, called a community update meeting, and stood at the podium dripping confidence in her emerald suit. In response to recent misunderstandings, she said all infrastructural updates were approved by certified consultants. I raised my hand. Did the county fire marshal contact you? Her jaw twitched. That's under legal review. So yes, she glared. We won't engage in accusatory dialogue tonight. I stood. You removed life-saving equipment. You silenced those who spoke up. That's not leadership, Dana. That's negligence. She banged the podium. You are no longer recognized as a contributing member of this community. No one moved. Even her enforcer Ryan looked away. I walked out before they could vote to pretend it never happened. Outside, Dolores was waiting with a few others. Retirees, teachers, a young couple with laptops. You shouldn't stand alone anymore, she said. We met that night at the cafe down the road, made a plan. Letters, evidence, news tips, small steps, quiet rebellion. Then came the grand reopening. The new clubhouse gleamed like a trophy, glass walls, rooftop garden, 0 hydrants in sight. Dana gave her speech smiling under the banner. Larkspur Hills, where elegance meets vision. I stood across the street, arms folded, and thought, vision's about to burn. And it did. At 1:37 a.m., the sky turned orange. I ran barefoot, radio in hand, as the scanner crackled. Structure fire, Larkspur Hills Community Center fully involved. By the time I reached the hill, flames had swallowed the building. Dana was in the driveway, robe half-tied, yelling into her phone. When she saw me, she screamed, "This is your fault," but I was already running. Inside, the smoke hit like a wall. I wrapped my shirt over my face, dropped low, counted doors. Found Alyssa, the receptionist, her ankle twisted, coughing blood. "Come on," I said, dragging her arm over my shoulder. "We're getting out." We barely made it through the back door before the roof collapsed. Outside, I laid her down on the grass just as Engine 12 arrived. The captain jumped off the rig, saw me, froze. Sanderson. What the hell happened? No hydrants, I gasped. They took them all. He cursed. Engine 9 reverse lay tap into Willow, Maine. 200 feet uphill. Too far. Too slow. The building was gone before the first hose pressurized. I watched the roof cave, flames clawing at the sky, and behind me came the whispers, then the shouting. Why aren't they putting it out? Where's the water? Who removed the hydrants? When it was over, only a black skeleton stood where vanity used to be. Dana sat on the curb, mascara streaking her cheeks, whispering to no one. There was no hydrant. The next morning, county investigators swarmed the site. Reporters, too. The story spread. Luxury HOA clubhouse burns down after hydrants removed for aesthetics. Channel 6 ran footage of Dana's ribbon cutting, her smile frozen beside the headline, "Style over Safety." At the investigation hearing, the lead inspector shook my hand. "You documented everything. You probably saved lives." "I didn't do it to win," I said. "I did it so no one would die." Weeks later, the county council issued its verdict: gross negligence, 4 ordinance violations, 2 state-level safety breaches. The HOA fined $375,000. Every board member banned from serving in any HOA for 10 years. Dana resigned that night. No statement. Just an email at 2:17 a.m. I resign effective immediately. I thought I'd feel triumphant. I didn't. Just tired. Months later, they rebuilt the hydrant at the corner of Hawthorne and Larkspur, the first one they tore out. Fresh paint, steady hiss of pressure inside. I knelt down, touched the cool metal. It was alive again. Behind me, a kid on a bike slowed down. "Is that new?" "Brand new," I said. "Looks cool." "Yeah," I smiled. "It really does." The truth is, fires destroy, that's what they do. But sometimes they burn away the lies first.